Hey guys, it's Derek from 4Runner Lifestyle. Today I am here in the Cimarron Mountains of Colorado. We have a few different trails in mind that we wanted to hit, including Imogene Pass. Now this will be my fourth time doing Imogene Pass if we can make it this trip, but we're a little later in the year than I've gone in the past, and we are forecasted to get snow and rain. So weather permitting, we're going to see if we can make it through those passes. So we're going to be camping the entire trip out of my 4Runner right here. So I've got the 4Runner set up. As you can see, I don't have a roof tent, but I do have an air mattress inside. It's the Luno air mattress, which is super awesome. Like I mentioned, we are expecting to get pretty high, so we're prepared for cold weather. And I'm excited to take you guys to some of my favorite fall color locations and get some photos. Okay, so we are here at Imogene Pass. So if you guys are not familiar with Imogene Pass is one of the most well-known off-roading trails in the Telluride area. The summit sits at about 13,114 feet, so it gets pretty high. I believe I read that it was the second highest trail in all of Colorado, so pretty crazy altitudes we're going to be going up to today. The trail is about 11 miles and it connects the town of Telluride to the town of Ophir. So we are actually going from the Telluride side to Ophir, and we are on the trail right now. We've only made it up the beginning switchbacks, which are pretty easy. You could make them in two-wheel drive. There's just a few rocks in the way, and you know, it's a little steep in some spots, so you might want some clearance to make it this far. The section right behind me is where it starts to get just a little bit more intense, so we're going to go ahead and air down just a little bit. This is my fourth time doing this trail, so I am familiar with it, but this will be my first time taking the 4Runner with the lift on it, which would be a lot easier to do this time. So the tires I have on right now are the BF Goodrich KO2s. I have them in 265/70/17 on 17-inch rims. So I have done this trail before. I have aired down. These are at 35 PSI right now. I'm going to air down to about 20, and then we're going to hit the trail. Okay, we are all aired down. We're ready to hit the trail. So this next section is a little bit gnarly. It's going to be hard for me to film because I'm a one-man band today. I'm going to try and get as many shots of this as I can for you guys, but mostly I'm going to be driving, so it's going to be hard for me to show you guys. Now, I do have drone footage from this same trail last year when I came with a couple friends, so you might see some sections of the drone footage from last year as well as this year, just because it'll be easier for me to utilize some of that footage as well. So that is this next section right in front of us, which is kind of this interesting ledge that's cut out of the side of the mountain. It makes this U shape. It's definitely not for people that are scared of heights. This is one of the freakier parts of this trail. So it's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking, even though I've done it a couple times. It is still, it's quite high, and it's quite nerve-wracking when you're doing it. So we're going to go ahead and hit this section. What's really interesting about Imogene Pass is the entire way there are remnants of the mines that used to be here. So the mine that was here before was called Tomboy Mine. We can see here some cable wiring on the side of the road left behind from the mining project. Okay, so we're pulling up on one of my all-time favorite parts of this trail just in front of us right now, which is this really interesting tunnel that's carved out of the rock, or maybe just a window. It's not really a tunnel, but you have to drive through it to continue on the trail. Now, this is a hard spot for me to film because it's a congestion point, so I'm going to see what I can get from this spot, but if anybody comes, it's going to be hard for me to get the shot of this. But I want to show you guys this spot. It's one of my favorite parts of this entire trail. It's just really interesting and a really cool place, and just really one of the coolest things I think you can do on these off-road trails in all of Colorado. Okay, so here's this tunnel I'm talking about, just one of the coolest formations out here. And taking a look at this spot, you can see just how high up we are. It's just absolutely insane. So below us we have the town of Telluride, and then out here we have the switchbacks for Black Bear Pass, and then of course Bradaville Falls right there. So we are currently right here out of the way in case anybody tries to come up the pass behind us or from the top. I'm going to try and get some shots here real quick and see if I can show you guys just how epic this spot is. But I wanted to just show you guys real quick before we drive through it, this tunnel and how cool it is. So coming up ahead is the Tomboy Mine. This is one of the coolest features, I think, of this area. Okay guys, we are here at the beginnings of the Tomboy mining site, the abandoned mining site up here, which, as I've mentioned, I think is one of the coolest features of any of these off-road trails you can drive through. So as you can see, some of the abandoned, somewhat demolished structures behind me here are really interesting, and there's so many of them. So there's a few here behind me, and there's a few that we passed on the way in, and there's a few looking down the side of the mountain here as well. So the first section was really easy. That first section is what I considered to be kind of the most nerve-wracking part of the trail, where there's kind of a drop-off on one side. So from here, it's not too bad. There are a lot of rocks, so we're going to end up doing just a little bit of crawling. It shouldn't be too bad, but it'll be a little bit slower moving from here, but no more of those steep drop-offs, at least not like the ones back there. There are some switchbacks up here that are a little bit steep and a little bit freaky, but nothing like that first section. So once you make it past that first section, definitely a good time to air down if you haven't already. We already have, and it's felt great. We're rocking about 20 PSI with no problems. I can already tell a significant difference coming from, I think I was actually about between 35 and 40 PSI before. And so it just feels a lot better doing this so far at 20 PSI. So we're gonna go ahead and ascend from here. It continues behind me, behind this abandoned structure, and then up into these snowy peaks that you can see behind me. The very top of the pass you can almost see from here. It's right behind this cone-shaped peak. So we're gonna make our way up towards the top and see the view from there. So yet another one of these just really interesting mining structures. This looks like an actual entrance to a mine. And as you guys can see, it's only about 10 feet from my car right here on the left side hand of the road. All right, so we've made it to this main section of the Tomboy Mine. So not too bad so far. The trail is really not that complicated. There were a few rocky spots, a few parts where the rocks, sit maybe a foot or so. So a little bit of crawling, but really not that bad. I only really had to switch into 4 high and 4 low one time. Probably could have powered through it in 2-wheel drive, but I was getting a lot of slippage, and there were a couple spots where it just seemed easier to just throw it in 4-wheel drive and climb over it. So from here, it's somewhat smooth until we actually start the ascent to summit. There it gets pretty rocky, and that's going to be a little bit more intense. And I'll try and show that to you guys. But here is the sign for the mine itself. So the mine itself is actually right here to my left and kind of below me. There's some really interesting structures here that I'll show you guys. So this is the sign to let you know that you are at the Tomboy Mine. So you can see the warning starting to stack up on us here. There's a sign here. Recommended 4-wheel drive, short wheelbase, and high clearance, which we won't have a problem with. So as you guys can see, It is snowy over here, so we really want to beat the sunlight going down to come back down on this side of the trail. So these switchbacks do have a drop off on each side, so they could be a little bit gnarly, I don't know. They're usually not that bad as far as being rocky or anything, but they just they're a little bit freaky when the road is slippery. So I'm gonna be really careful. I'm gonna take my time moving up these switchbacks. Okay, so we have made it to the summit of Imogene Pass. So unfortunately, it looks like the backside right here is covered in snow. So this backside has some switchbacks that wrap down into array. From what I can see, they're just completely caked in snow, and it doesn't look like something I can do. So I won't lie to you guys, making it to this point. Here's the trail we took up. You can see these switchbacks. The entire time I was on snow, and I just kept slipping towards the edge. So we're really tight on time. I'm actually gonna start the descent down immediately after this because I wanna beat the sun going down to make it back down into Telluride. But I will show you guys real quickly the sign right here at the top of Imogene Pass. So really spectacular views, 360 degrees of amazing views. Telluride is right back down this way, right about there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pack it up and make my way back down. So that concludes today's video of doing Imogene Pass with 4Runner Lifestyle. We're experimenting with this type of video, so if you'd like to see more videos like this, go ahead and let us know in the comments below. If there's a trail out here you know about you'd like us to do, or you know something about this trail you think we should know, go ahead and let us know in the comments as well. We will see you guys in the next video. And as always, if you want any of the stuff that you saw featured in this video, you can find it at 4runnerlifestyle.com.